managing do not playlists. There's a couple proven techniques that I do that I wanted to share with you guys. If you happen to, you should have a do not playlist every wedding. If you're DJing a wedding, there should be a do not playlist. I don't care if there's one song, and it's very rare that a couple's like, no, play whatever you want. Even the chicken dance, right? Like, every wedding's going to have a do not playlist, so you always have to deal with it, right? You always have to, make sure you don't play that stuff. It's not really dealing with it. I think it's an important thing. I've talked about this on my show before, how important do not playlists are. I've heard stories about, other DJs that say like, hey, we try and limit the do not playlist, and, they're annoying and it kind of sucks. And what am I supposed to do without all these songs and yada, yada. I couldn't disagree more. If you ever see a DJ complaining about a do not playlist, he's just lazy. That's really what it comes down to. How am I going to DJ this wedding without Bruno Mars and Michael Jackson? You're lazy. All right. You're lazy. There's millions and bajillions of songs. You don't have to play the same 70 songs every day. All right. You don't have to play the same top 100 DJ intelligence, top 200. Whatever. You don't need any of that shit. You just dig a little deeper. There's plenty of other hits that will work. You know what I mean? I've never had a do not playlist that hindered me so bad where like I literally couldn't get them to dance. Like, it hasn't happened yet in all my career. Like, because you just have to do a little more preparation. Okay. Especially if you've got a crazy do not playlist that has all the hits on there, you just got to dig a little bit. Okay. So anybody that does complain about that, you're just being lazy. Just dig a little, and it's more rewarding too when you go through. See, I told myself I wasn't going to do this do not playlist rant. I was just going to go into the tips, and here I am ranting. I just gotta relax. Like, but it pisses me off, okay? Because, the cool thing is you have to realize too, if you get a good do not playlist and then you do the work and then you dig and you find all those other songs outside of this do not playlist, and then, you figure out new ways to mix them and everything, and like, you're really like outside of your comfort zone at this wedding, but you do all that work and you do all that preparation and then you execute, and then the wedding goes great. It's so much more rewarding than like the wedding went great when you played Uptown Funk, It's so much more fun to play a song you never play and it working rather than a song you played 1,000 times and it always works. And, you all know this. So like it's actually worth the work as well. So just don't always ask for do not playlist. Tell them to load it up. And then when you get it, here's some tips on how to handle it. Bam. End rant. Tip number 1. So if you get genres, right? Like if they give you like genres on the do not playlist, if they're basically like, no rock, no 70s, no 80s, whatever. Here's something that I do. I actually ran into this last weekend. Last weekend, my couple didn't want anything before 90s. So they were like, no 80s, no 70s, no 60s. If you organize your crates like I do, right? So these are like my wedding crates. Not all of them are in here. It's cut off. But like, you can see like wedding dance, right? And you see all the different categories and whatnot I have. What I do if I have a couple that's like, listen, like we want 90s and newer, nothing before that, I take out all those crates. It sounds simple, but like it's a really good idea. You basically, if you use a crate system when you DJ, I took out funky because that's a lot of 70s and 80s. I took out classic rock fire because that's all, classic rock to me is like 70s and 80s. Oldies, obviously, 70s, and then below that is my 80s new wave, and I think there's like one other crate or something. And I basically took it out of the wedding dance grouping, right? This is in Serato, but this would work in any DJ program. So when I go to the whole group, when I go to wedding dance, now I'm not sifting through songs I can't play, So it's easier. It narrows down. You always want to like narrow down your crate system. That way, like you're not sifting through fluff. You're only sifting through the stuff that you can play that would work and whatnot. And I do this too, even if it's not on the do not play. Like let's say like I'm DJing live, right? And I drop Clarity by Zed, I think, and whoever sings the hook, you know what I mean? You are the piece of me, right? I drop that and it doesn't work. Like none of the females are singing it. Like everyone's just like, you know what I mean? And chilling. Well, now I'm basically going to take my entire DJs folder out. You see that DJs crate? Like I like live now, when that didn't work, I'm like, man, I'm not going down that road. Like if it's like that reaction where you're like, whoa, I'm not doing that again for the rest of the night. I learned my lesson. Okay, good to know type shit. I literally will take that entire crate that has all that stuff out of my wedding grouping for that day only, just temporarily. That way I don't have to sit through those songs. I don't have to look at them. I don't have to, they're not going to, those extra milliseconds of time when you're reading them, it adds up. And before you know it, your song's running out, everything like that, So I do that live too, even when the couple didn't ask me. and if you guys are wondering, I guess I should like give you some context. DJs, DJAIS, as you can see in my crates there, that's actually a bar in Belmar, New Jersey on the shore. And it's this legendary bar. And basically they play nothing but, you know, the EDM era, 2010 to 2014, 2015, 2016, like all those sing-alongs and, you know, all your, all that shit, you know, the Avicii's and the David Guettas and like that whole era, like they're just known for playing that type of music. And because it's such a legendary bar and like a lot of people go there all summer, you know, we get a lot of couples in New Jersey that would be like, yo, listen, we want like a DJ's vibe at our wedding. Like we want all that like dance music, da-da-da. So like we have a DJ's folder. If you DJ in New Jersey, you definitely have that folder. Anyway, just to give you context. But yeah, so this is a great way. You take the groups out, you're eliminating the fluff. That way it's easier for you to sift through the songs and you don't have to worry about playing them by accident. Now, another trick that I do, and this works best with specific requests. So let's say like they don't want, do not play Uptown Funk, do not play Celebration, do not play, you know, Gold Digger, whatever, right? Well, you basically play them so they're marked as played. Shouts to DJ Demand. I don't know if he thought of this, but he's the one that told me about it, and I was like, holy shit, it's a great idea. I never thought of this myself. It only works if you reset your plays. So if you're DJing, right? So I can only speak for Serato. In Serato, when you play a song when you're DJing, it goes blue. You know, I have it set in Serato. There's a setting where it resets every time I exit out of Serato. So every time I exit out of Serato, it resets and everything's not blue again, right? And as I play it, the next, you know, gig, you know, and then it makes your mind work like that too. Because when I'm sifting through songs, if the song's blue, I'm not even going to read it. To me, it's like it's not even available at all. So I literally don't even read it when I sift through it. So like, if you DJ like that, if you reset your plays, everything, then a great trick is all the songs they have before the gig starts, put your volume up and then just play them. You know what I mean? Just like play them for 2 seconds so they turn blue. Now everything, all the versions, and you obviously you're using the versions that you always use, right? If you have dupes or whatever. So now all those versions are all blue. So you're not even going to look at them. So you don't have to worry about playing them by accident, you know? And I do that. I only do that with the songs that I normally play, you know, like if they request, you know, if they're like, you know, no Photograph by Nickelback. I'm not going to go make that blue because I'm not playing Nickelback. That's egregious, right? You know, so obviously, and you cut time with this, so you don't have to be super anal and like do every single song. I just pick out I might play that. You know what I mean? That's kind of in my rotation sometimes. So then you make it blue. Bam, you get that. The third way I do it, and this is all in combination too. This isn't like one or the other. This is like, you know, I kind of recommend doing all this shit, right? Because the last thing you want to do is play something that's on their do not play list and, you know, kill their buzz live at the wedding. The third thing I do is at the bottom of my cheat sheet. This is a screenshot of my cheat sheet. My cheat sheet is what I use every wedding, right? So I print it out with me, and I have, you know, and all you guys, you don't use an iPad, Nick? Like you don't use an iPad? Like it's 2023. Why? Listen, they're heavy and bulky and just I don't want, and I like the paper and I like being able to put it in my pocket and I like taking it out and like. I'm still in the paper game. I just can't. I've tried the iPad a couple weddings and I hate it, you know. And I mean I have the big ass, like this thing is freaking huge, right? But it's just so heavy and it, like you're holding it and it's a lot. All right. So I don't do the iPad yet. All right. One day, but on the bottom of my sheet, I put right on, and I always send my sheet to the couples. I've talked about this before too, right? To triple check the announcements, the phonetics, everything. Always send your cheat sheet that you used the day of to your couple the week of as the final check to make sure everything's good, and also covers your ass too if they miss a mistake and then you make that mistake. You know, you can, even though you still made the mistake, you can still be like, well, I sent you the sheet and you said it was cool, so fuck, you know, right? So always send your sheet to couples. But another thing I put on the sheet that I want them to confirm too is the do not plays. I put it on the bottom so they can confirm it, add to it if like they realize, oh yeah, you know what, I meant to tell them this. But on top of that, when I'm DJing, I have the sheet folded in front of me or somewhere so I can always, you know, go and check it. And it's a quick place to check what's on the do not play and what's not, you know, so, you know, you can just like, oh wait, is this on do not play? You know, and you're kind of triple, you know, guessing yourself, you know, second guess yourself. You can check the sheet and you're good to go. And then the final way, all right, there is a fourth way, all right, that you should always do, mandatory, every wedding, mandatory, okay? After you put your suit on, you stare in the mirror and you say to yourself, and I repeat, I will not play Bruno Mars. 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 And if you say that 10 times in a row, looking yourself in the eyes in the mirror, trust me, all right, trust me, There's not going to be no treasure. There's not going to be no leave the door open, okay? You're going to remember that Bruno Mars is in Silk Sonic. There's not going to be no mistakes. You just repeat it in the mirror, direct in the mirror, and you let yourself know, consciously and subconsciously, that Bruno Mars is not welcome at this fucking celebration. And that's it. And I'm telling you guys, honest to God, if you do all four of those things every wedding, you will never, ever, ever play something that's on the do not play. You won't. It's just impossible at that point. You're stacking the deck in your favor, and that's what it's all about with weddings.